Susan Kirby.
Okay, and this is looks like a 1952
Yeah, you got the year on it.
2CV.
And this is from a French kit of a company that's now out of business, unfortunately. And it's basically cardboard. And I added some of the details, like this leather, and then the fabric in there is accents as far as what I could tell from the real car. Tried to make it realistic, and I just chose sort of a color scheme. I didn't go by any official color schemes like everybody else does, because it's just a model. And then we got the door that opens. I like things that move with models too. I think that I've always enjoyed building models. And I started when I was like 12 years old, building paper models of, doll houses. And then I started I was into history, so I'd make like Revolutionary War scenes, like little paper dolls, just as a sort of a diorama, more or less. And you did school projects. I made a Globe Theater as a school project, from scratch though. In 6th grade, I just built the Globe Theater. I decided that would be fun at a cardstock. And then I started buying kits because it's a lot easier just to do what someone else says. In a kit form like this is a kit. It's almost like it looked like a blueprint when I was putting it together, and that made it easier because a lot of the instructions were in French and I'd had to go to translate them online and sit there, what's this word? I knew some words, so every other word I was translating and running back and forth. And even, I like the detail on this because they got the bottom.
When did you first become interested in the French cars?
It was through my brother.
Okay.
And he started going to the Rendezvous in Deerfield. And then my husband and I, were professional jugglers. And we were doing an event in Clichy, Vermont, and Deerfield was on the way. So we would catch the last hour of the Rendezvous. Because at most of the cars, we'd see about half the cars, because that was the time that we were coming back down from Vermont to go to Connecticut.
Okay.
And he got me into it, and I just liked the shape of them. That was what was neat, because each one is like a different shape.
In this.
So basically, that's what I wanted to do. Basically, each car has its own personality. The Citroens, it's almost like they just, every year they had to reinvent the car so much it couldn't look like the previous years. Because I didn't know the history of it. I just looked at all these different cars, and I'm like, these are the same cars, like it didn't make sense. And then my brother lives in Portsmouth, and that's where Lance lives. So we went to a mini rendezvous there with like 12 cars, but there are 12 different cars. Basically, he happened to get like one of each car, and they almost look like insects driving around the park where Lance had his event. It's almost like a praying mantis and a ladybug, just different insects together. So I see them as very animated cars. So when I went to make my paper models, I couldn't just have a model that didn't do anything. It had to move. So what kind of movement is made by each car? Like the 2CV, to me, I like the fact that like Robert is shaking it around. Like the suspension is just really crazy. You can move it in every direction. So when I made it so you could really move it back and forth. And with the DS, I liked the hydraulics. So I had you move your car up in increments so I could figure out how much it moves. And I actually tried to do it realistically. Like from a standing point, we measured how much your car moved up and down. I don't know what that precise measurement is, but I replicated it in my model. So I thought that was funny about the DS, that it would go up and down, like a lot of the cars do. But that car, that's what I saw in it. So that my DS goes up and down. And the Ami is more like the 2CV. I use about the same gears for that because Kim took me for a ride in his Ami, and Kim is crazy, so of course he's going to make it go every way it can as soon as you jump in. So that's what I did with that, so that's where I got that from. And then the SM, to me that's just flat out speed. It's designed for speed, it's a low car, and you sit there and you look at it. And so when I made an SM, I just wanted the wheels to turn, but I wanted it suspended, like it was flying, even though the DS is also known for its sort of flying design. So I just made a bunch of gears, because I decided that was a speed car. I just wanted to see the wheels turn quite a bit, and that's what I did. So those were, like I said, each car has a personality. I wanted to make a movement that corresponded in my head, not necessarily in anybody else's head, to what the design was. And because I've always liked to build things, it's a hobby. If I did it professionally, I probably wouldn't make an animation. But I like to do things with my hands. And it really started also with origami. I started doing origami, but it was kind of getting too abstract for me. One piece of paper, a bunch of folds. I can do a lot of origami stuff. I like building more realistic stuff. I got tired of the abstract, the things that you can do with origami. And then I've always liked cars. My mom was into cars. I think that's probably the start of everything.
Okay.
She had a Volvo in the 70s when everybody wasn't driving a Volvo necessarily in the 70s. The car people were, but the rest of the world, not everybody has a Volvo station wagon running around. So I learned how to drive a Volvo, and I thought that was a cool car. So after that, I didn't like American cars that much. That's the other thing. I'm prejudiced against, I like the foreign cars. They look different, and I like that. The American cars, I like some of the 1950s ones that you see, but for the most part, they still kind of lean towards European cars. And the French cars even more now because of going to this event particularly. And I used to live here in Saratoga, so it's nice coming back here. There's a lot of reasons that a lot of this stuff works out. And then we just, I don't know, the funny thing with the Rendezvous is that we sort of went to it in Deerfield, met all the people that are now the organizers of it.
Right.
Just through my models. That's how I met them. Not because I had a car, just because I had these paper models that I was sitting there in Deerfield spinning around, and all of a sudden they're organizing, and they're like, oh, you should come and bring in models, and yeah, why not juggle too, that kind of thing. So that takes you into a lot of different places with my involvement and stuff. And the people that like these cars they're artists and they're mechanics, and that's what it is to make a model. You have to do everything. I'm not really good at either thing. I'm not like this pure artist that can paint a picture or anything. I'm not a mechanic, but I like trying to figure out both things. So I do them both well enough so I can, get by. And I like studying the cars, the shapes, and I like paper because it's pliable. It's kind of, I guess, like metal. Like you can form paper just like you can form metal. I mean, I was talking about that with another guy. And I like shaping paper. And again, that goes back to a little origami and a little just straight, modeling skills like this where you're cutting and doing stuff.
Can you show us the features again, and especially the trunk on that?
Oh, the trunk, right. I forgot to do the trunk. Okay. Let me get this. Throw that back up there. There you go.
Okay. That is so cool.
And the wheels turn on this one.
Okay.
These are all options that you could do, like the model builder let you do what you wanted to. I could have made it so the steering wheel moved the front wheels, but that would have taken a lot more time because I'm not necessarily a mechanic, but you could make it so very simply with a few hinges. And then I just like it like this, the flat roof.
This is a kit you got in France, but you did your own style on it.
Okay. And had it sent to me from actually a German model company got this French model. I got it through them. Okay. And they still have them kicking around. I could give to people. But it's about $40 for the model, and you haven't even built it yet. Basically. But it's very well done. Like I said, the thing about kits is you get this nice paper. This is cardstock, almost cardboard.
And the features that you added, you did the
well, they
roof
tell you basically you can make the door go like this, and they don't really tell you how. They're like, oh yeah, just get a little hinge type thing. I added all the interior sort of accents based upon what I thought was happening in the car, so I added like a fabric.
So the seats were there, but you added the
fabric.
I
added the fabric. Cool. I felt like the 2CV is kind of a fun car, so stripes is sort of fun for me.
That's very close to what the original fabric was in the early.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, it was a pinstripe, but it was a little, it was probably like that pinstripe, but in the car, so the proportion, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't really look into that. I was looking for something that sort of matched, and I like the way this went with each other.
It's pretty darn close. It is. That's very cool.
So they just let you sort of go. They give you ideas about things you might want to do.
And the mats you did like that also?
This is part of the kit right here.
Okay.
And then I just put this, this is just a bamboo skewer right here for the steering column. I should paint it gray so it matches. Okay. And I did actually paint the interior of the seams here gray, so you didn't have white. Like some of the edges, I actually painted gray, so it looks better. Yes. But I should paint the rest of it. There's always some more stuff you can do with anything like your car, even if it's made out of paper.
That's great. I really like it. Okay, well.
Any other angle? I added the windows. I think they suggested windows. Like these are actually plastic windows right here. So.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. You take care. Thank you.